What once sounded like a fairy tale has become yesterday's nightmare. The frogs are gone. Their worlds are silent. Their cities stand empty, but they left a warning. The Voidborn are real. They whisper in the darkness. They wait behind the stars. They turn minds against themselves. Cliff Alistair McLane is a legend. His grandson commands the Orion XX, a new ship, a new crew, a new mission. The Voidborn are still out there, patiently waiting. Let us accompany the Orion XX and her crew on their patrol service on the edge of infinity.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition! Between the stars we ride, Orion 20 on the edge of the tide. Faster than light, we cut through the black, carrying fire on our backs. The frogs have gone, their signal is dead, but something ancient woke instead. Whispers from the void, cold and vast, we chase the future into the past. Orion 20.
Act 4: The Hunted. The Orion 20 emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Sol system, its engines cooling, its crew tense. Earth hung in the distance, a blue marble against the black, beautiful and fragile. Home, but home did not feel safe. Kaya was the first to notice the transmissions. The channels were crowded with military traffic, encrypted, urgent. Ships were moving, patrol vessels, supply carriers, even a few capital ships. They were not on routine maneuvers. They were searching for something. "Someone knows we're coming," she said. Torben stood at the viewport, his hands clasped behind his back. "The GSD. Probably. The logs we downloaded. If Fleet Command found out what we learned, they would want to keep it quiet. The Voidborn, the shield, the frogs' warning. It's too big, too dangerous. They'll want to control the narrative." Rolf stepped forward. "Control us, you mean?" "Control the story. We're witnesses. Witnesses can be silenced." Torben turned to face his crew. "Then we don't let them silence us. Helm, set a course for the outer colonies. We're not going to Earth." "Sir." "We're not going to Earth. Not yet. Not until we know who we can trust." Rolf hesitated. "The crew is exhausted. We've been running for weeks. They need rest." "They'll rest when we're safe." Torben's voice was firm, but there was weariness in his eyes. "The GSD won't stop. They'll hunt us across the galaxy if they have to. We need allies. We need information. We need time. And the colonies can give us that. The outer colonies don't trust the GSD. They've been ignored, exploited, forgotten. They'll listen to us." Kaya nodded slowly. "I have contacts on Titan, people who owe me favors. We can start there." Torben looked at her. "How reliable are they?" "Reliable enough to get us off Titan. After that," she shrugged, "we'll see." The outer colonies were not what they had been. In the decades since the Frog War, humanity had spread across the stars. New worlds had been settled, new technologies developed, new alliances forged. The old Rompetruel had been replaced by the fast space forces. The GSD had been dissolved and reformed half a dozen times. Earth was no longer the sole center of power, but the colonies had changed too. Some had flourished, becoming independent nations with their own fleets and governments. Others had failed, abandoned when the resources ran out or the climate turned hostile, and some had simply vanished. The Orion XX's first stop was Titan, the moon of Saturn that had become a hub for scientific research and black market trading. The domed cities were crowded, chaotic, full of refugees from the outer systems and entrepreneurs looking for the next big discovery. As they approached, Torben studied the sensor readings. There are GSD ships in orbit, 2 of them. They're not moving. Patrol, Kaya said. They're watching the space lanes, not looking for us specifically. Not yet. Can we land without being detected? The Orion has stealth capabilities. If we're careful, we can slip through. She paused. But we'll need to move fast. The moment we're spotted, we'll have minutes before they're on us. Torben nodded. Then we move fast. The descent through Titan's atmosphere was rough, the ship buffeted by methane storms and high winds. Kaya guided them through the turbulence, her hands steady on the controls, her eyes fixed on the sensors. Below, the domed cities glowed like jewels in the darkness. "We're in," she said. "No alerts. No pursuit. They didn't see us." "Good, take us to your contact." Kaya's contact was a woman named Sasha, a former intelligence officer who had gone underground after the GSD purged its ranks. She lived in a bar at the edge of the dome, surrounded by refugees, smugglers, and outcasts. Her eyes were cybernetic, glowing faintly in the dim light. The bar was called the Broken Seal, a name that meant nothing to Torben but made Kaya smile. The air was thick with smoke and the smell of synthetic alcohol. In the corner, a group of alien mercenaries played cards with decks that shimmered with holographic symbols. Sasha sat in a booth near the back, her back to the wall, her eyes scanning the room. She was thin, sharp-featured, with gray-streaked hair pulled back in a tight braid. Her left arm was cybernetic from the elbow down, the fingers tapping a rhythm on the table. "The GSD has a warrant out for your arrest," Sasha said, sliding a data pad across the table. "All of you. Treason, espionage, conspiracy to incite alien aggression. The works." Torben picked up the data pad. "They're afraid." "Of course they're afraid. You brought back proof that the Voidborn are real, that the frogs weren't the enemy, that the GSD has been lying to the public for decades." Sasha leaned back. "That kind of truth is dangerous. We need to get the information out. The logs, the shield, everything." Sasha shook her head. "You can't. The GSD has jammed all outgoing transmissions. They're controlling the narrative. Anyone who tries to contradict them is labeled a traitor." "Then we find another way." "There is no other way. Not here, not now." Sasha stood up. "But there might be a way off Titan. A freighter leaving for the outer colonies. It's not much, but it'll get you out of the system." Torben looked at Kaya. She nodded. "We'll take it." The freighter was called the Star Runner, a battered cargo ship with a crew of 4 and a captain who asked no questions. The Orion 20 was hidden in a cargo bay, its hull covered by tarps and shipping containers. The crew blended in with the other passengers, refugees, smugglers, and outlaws. The journey took 3 days. They traveled through systems where the frog legacy was still visible. Ancient satellites drifted in the darkness, remnants of a technology that had once spanned the galaxy. Kaya studied them through the viewport, her face pressed against the cold glass. The frogs built constellations of these satellites, she said. They called them webs, a dozen or more orbiting a star in a precise formation. When activated, they create a stable corridor through hyperspace, a tunnel between stars. Torben frowned, like the jump gates. Not exactly. Gates are fixed structures, each paired with a specific destination. The web is different. It creates an opening, a door, but where you go depends on your ship. The web only provides the path. The ship must navigate it. How does it work? The satellites draw power from the star. They store it, focus it, release it when a ship with the right resonance frequency approaches. She looked at him. That's why the Orion 20 can use the frog's webs. The shield technology we adapted, it gives us the right frequency. Most ships cannot. They would pass through the web's field and feel nothing. So the frogs built a network that only their ships could use. Or the ships of their allies. Kaya's voice was quiet. They were fleeing the Voidborn. They did not want to be followed. Rolf, who had been listening from across the cabin, spoke up. And the webs on the other side. How do we get back? The frogs built receiver webs, separate constellations paired with transmitters. But the network is incomplete. Some systems have only a transmitter, some have only a receiver, some have none at all. She paused. And some are dead. Dead. Systems where the web was damaged or destroyed. The frogs could jump in, but they couldn't jump out. They were trapped. Torben was silent for a long moment. Then we need to be careful. Once we go through, we're committed. Yes, the frogs knew that. They built the webs to be used with caution, not for the reckless, not for the unprepared. The outer colonies were a different world. The first stop was a mining colony on the edge of the Orion Spur, a cluster of domes and tunnels carved into a barren asteroid. The colonists were tough, independent, suspicious of Earth and its politics. They had their own laws, their own leaders, their own way of life. The asteroid was called Dustfall, a name that reflected its harsh reality. The domes were old, patched with salvaged metal, their surfaces scarred by micrometeorite impacts. The air inside was recycled thin, with a metallic tang that never quite faded. They also had their own technology. The colonists had developed a form of communication that did not rely on the GSD's networks, a quantum entanglement system that could transmit data across light years without being intercepted. Kaya had heard rumors of it, but seeing it in action was something else. It's called the Web, the colony's leader explained, a woman named Helena with gray hair and a mechanical arm. We developed it to stay in touch with the other colonies. The GSD can't touch it. They don't even know it exists. Helena's office was small, cluttered with old-fashioned paper printouts and models of mining equipment. A holographic display on her desk showed the layout of the asteroid, the tunnels, the domes. She gestured to the chairs and Torben sat. We need to send a message to every colony, to every world, the truth about the Voidborn. Helena nodded slowly. That's a dangerous message. The truth is always dangerous. I'll help you, but you should know, once you send this, there's no going back. The GSD will hunt you to the ends of the galaxy. Torben looked at his crew. They're already hunting us. The message was sent. Kaya stood at the console, her fingers flying across the interface, her eyes fixed on the screen. The quantum web hummed with power, transmitting the frog logs, the shield technology, the truth about the Voidborn to every colony that had the receivers to hear it. The transmission room was cold, the walls lined with humming servers. Red lights blinked in sequence. tracking the data as it flowed across the galaxy. Kaya's reflection stared back at her from the dark glass of the monitor. Torben watched the progress bar crawl across the screen. 50%, 75, 90. Then the alarms went off. GSD ships, Rolf called out. 3 of them, they must have followed us. Torben turned to Helena. How long until the transmission is complete? 2 minutes. We don't have 2 minutes. He moved to the viewport. The GSD ships were approaching fast, their weapons charged, their intentions clear. Rolf, get the crew to the Orion. We're leaving. You're not going to fight. We're not going to win. Not here, not now. We need to survive. The Orion 20 launched from the colony as the first shots were fired. The GSD ships were fast, armed with the latest technology, plasma cannons, energy shields, targeting systems that could track a ship across light years. But the Orion was faster. Torben pushed the engines to their limits, weaving through the asteroid field, using the debris as cover. The asteroid field was a graveyard of rock and ice, chunks of debris ranging from pebbles to boulders the size of houses. The Orion threaded through them, its hull scraping against the larger fragments, its shields flaring with every impact. Shields at 70%, Kaya reported. Keep them up. Helm, get us to the frog web. The web is on the far side of the system. 3 hours at current speed. We don't have 3 hours. Torben looked at the tactical display. The GSD ships were gaining. Kaya, can you activate the web remotely? I don't know. The satellites are dormant. They need a resonance signal to wake them. I can try. Do it. Kaya's fingers flew across her console. The shield technology hummed, sending out a pulse, a frequency that only the frog satellites could hear. The web is responding, she said. The satellites are powering up, but it will take time. How long? 10 minutes. Maybe more. We don't have 10 minutes. The GSD ships fired again. The shots hit the Orion's shields, sending shockwaves through the hull. Lights flickered. Systems failed. Kaya fought to keep the ship together. Shields at 40%. Keep going. The frog web activated. 12 satellites arranged in a precise formation around the dying star began to glow. Energy pulsed between them, building, focusing, creating a vortex, a tear in the fabric of space. The vortex was enormous, a swirling maelstrom of yellow and orange light, its edges crackling with energy. It was beautiful and terrible, a gateway to the unknown. The vortex is forming, Kaya said, but it's not stable. The frogs built these webs as one-way transmitters. They can only send ships out. They cannot receive them. And the other side? There is no other side yet. The web creates a corridor through hyperspace. The ship must navigate it. Where we emerge depends on our calculations. Torben looked at his crew. Then calculate now. Kaya worked, her fingers flying across the console, her eyes fixed on the data. Sweat beaded on her forehead. Her breath came in short gasps. The corridor is shifting. The frog's network is incomplete. Some webs lead to dead ends, systems with no way out. Others lead to unknown destinations. Which one is this? I don't know. The records are incomplete. It could be a colony. It could be an empty system. It could be a trap. We have no choice. Torben turned to the helm. Take us through. The Orion 20 raced toward the vortex. The GSD ships fired again, but the shots went wide, exploding against the satellites. One of the satellites cracked. The vortex flickered. The web is damaged, Kaya warned. The corridor may not be stable. We have no choice. Ship plunged into the vortex. The transition was rough, violent, rattling the hull and shaking the crew. The viewport filled with swirling energy, with the impossible geometry of hyperspace, with the darkness between dimensions. Inside the vortex, the ship felt like a leaf in a storm. The hull groaned. The lights flickered. The crew held onto their seats, their knuckles white, their eyes wide. Then it was over. The ship emerged in another system, the vortex closing behind them, the stars steady and familiar. "Jump complete," Kaya said. Her voice was shaking. "We're at, I don't know, the star is not in our databases. There are no colonies, no outposts, no web. No outgoing web. None. This is a dead end." The system was empty. One star, a few planets, nothing else. No satellites, no colonies, no signs of frog habitation. The Orion 20 drifted in the darkness, its crew silent, its engines idle. Torben stood at the viewport, staring at the alien stars. The star was red, old, nearing the end of its life. Its light was dim, casting long shadows across the bridge. "How long until our supplies run out?" "2 weeks," Kaya said, "maybe less." "And then?" She did not answer. She did not need to. Rolf stepped forward. "We have the shield, we have the truth, we have each other. We will find a way." "How?" "We keep searching. The frogs built thousands of webs. One of them must lead somewhere we can survive." Torben turned to face his crew. "Then we search. We scan every planet, every asteroid, every debris field. We do not give up." He looked at Kaya. "And you start studying the frogs' records. There has to be another web in this system, or a way to build one." "Build one?" Kaya stared at him. "That's impossible." "The frogs built them. We have their technology, we have their records, we have the shield." He looked at her. "We have you." Kaya was silent for a long moment, then she nodded slowly. "I'll try."